Okay.
So, okay, let's go to that last question though. What's next? Where does this go? What would if you were talking to somebody that was thinking about going into data science, kind of with your background or something, your interest level, what would you advise them?
So I went to school we had a study group. There was three of us, myself, Adam, and Valerie. And we all got the information systems minor, and we were all pretty nerdy, that tech savvy per se. And there was a time back in May when I could tell them what I was doing, and it was interesting, and we were on the same page. And we can't talk anymore. I'm just not even in the same sphere as them. The things that I'm doing are so far past what they're trained to do. That was a measure for me of like seeing how far I've come. Is it takes me a really long time to explain some of these things to them because I have learned so much. I would say if you're trying to learn self-led learning between YouTube and your keyboard, I don't think you're going to get far. I think that's really difficult to have that level of self-discipline and fully 100% teach yourself is a grit that I did not have. So having something that's led like Data Camp, where they have concisely put, here's what you need to know, and here it is in a very digestible format, helped me tremendously. The second thing I would say is accountability is absolutely crucial, life or death, when it's self-led for myself. And I do remember, Kip, you saying to me that, hey, if I can't learn to be self-led, then I'll have a boss for the rest of my life. And I have thought about that one heavily this whole time. But I think there's a certain amount of maybe someday I'll be able to be self-led, but that accountability is a crucial piece for me and has been throughout this whole experience. Maybe someday I'll be able to be fully autonomous, but at this point I can't. And especially when learning is so difficult and I was grinding so hard that like having someone to bounce and say, hey, actually you're sort of headed the wrong direction, or here's technologies you haven't even thought of that you should think of. Those things were invaluable, like so valuable.
Well, let me react there to a couple of points, right? What I heard you say is Data Camp was helping you get started. I'm thinking basically of the analogy of a car sitting on a sheet of ice, right? That if you put the gas full bore, you're going to spin your wheels and you're going to stay in the same position. What Data Camp did for you is it allowed you to get some momentum, get started. It gave you some way to get started. But, the people that build Data Camp, there has to be a large enough body of people that are interested, that those topics are useful for, to justify somebody making a training course. And if you want to solve new problems, then there's nobody that will have had any economic incentive to make a training course for the new problem you're trying to solve. You have to, at some point, be able to go beyond the training materials and direct yourself. On the directing yourself, right? I remember I've had people through the years tell me, well, I want to own my own business. I want to be my own boss. I've often thought, you know, you'll be lucky if you at least have one boss that's called a customer. Because if you don't have a customer to give you feedback about what you're doing is useful or not doing, then you could be wasting your time. And that's where you have to find that balance between doing something new, but finding ways that something new is useful to others, and take that feedback from them to direct how you go and where you go next.
Definitely. That iterative learning, and not just in, hey, my code doesn't work, now it works. More of a, hey, am I learning the right things? Asking, asking the people, hey, am I headed the right direction? Potentially. Is that sort of on the same page?
Yes. Yep. Yep. That getting that feedback, finding ways of getting feedback about the usefulness of your exploration into new spaces is very helpful in your self-directed learning processes.
Early on, when you and I were talking, there was such a disparity of knowledge that we couldn't have a conversation without me coming away with a 10-step to-do list of
Yes.
I gotta learn GitHub, I gotta learn Shell, I gotta learn PowerShell, I gotta learn Bash, I need to figure out how those
Scala,
mix.
Spark. Yep.
Yeah, it was just, what's Apache? I don't know what Apache is. Well, look into Apache, find out what Apache is. And that dialogue has helped me a lot to build really good foundations of what really is foundational to data and those sort of things.
Yeah, very good. Very good, Matt. Not very many people, I haven't met very many people that have taken on the challenges directly you have, and I've been impressed watching you. As you just noted, our first conversations, there were a lot of things you didn't know. In the later conversations, there were things where you were explaining, oh, you were giving me insights on things.
That's generous.
And I was finding connections between things that, oh yeah, I can see how that's connected to this thing over here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been quite a ride. I'll let you know once this Spark cluster gets up. Then I'll really be able to lean back and have a good rest, maybe.
Good. That'd be good. Yeah, you need those as well. Thanks for your time today, Matt. I think this will be interesting to a number of people.
Hopefully. Yeah, if it gets more than 3 views, then I'm impressed.
Well, if you have both your parents watch it independently, that'll get you a long ways there.
Well, there we are. Cheers.
Good work, Matt. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You have a good one.
I hope you've enjoyed these segments from Matt. Matt Adams, he's worked very hard. There's not a lot of people that get to do this kind of thing. But in today's educational world, I think there's going to need to be more and more of people who take on these kinds of attacking new areas and retraining themselves to understand new problems. Matt's a good example of what some of the structures are and things you need to do in order to make that time effective, whether it's in data science or something else. I hope you've enjoyed this series of conversations with Kip, with Matt Adams.